loosen the back. There is a 13mm nut here and the 15mm nut there. So I took both of those loose, and also this screw. And then this cover comes off. That's what we're looking for. This is the voltage regulator with the brushes in it. So, looks like I'm gonna have a few screws to take out. That's the loose. One of these screws were really tight. You do not want to strip those out. So support the alternator firmly so you can really put some pressure on that screwdriver so it's not going to slip. And then I was able to break it loose, because that would be a problem if that strips out. Okay, good. Both of those screws are the same length, and we'll have one more over here. It looks like it needs to come loose. And let's see, that's a special screw there. It's a different length. And right there it comes out. That was easy. And those brushes are really short. They're really worn down compared to the new ones. So this is the new one I got. And you can see the brushes are way longer on the new one. It looks like the same part. So that's going to go in there. But first I'm going to blow this whole thing out with air really good. And check everything. I guess it looks okay. Don't need to clean rust out of anything. But I am going to blow it out with air. And then I'll put this new voltage regulator back in there and reassemble. And of course you also want to check that it spins freely with no bearing noise, which that wasn't my problem. My problem was the battery not charging. So yeah, I assumed that it would be fine, and it is. It spins nice and smooth, no noises. It looks pretty clean, so I'm glad I'm rebuilding it. It's probably good everywhere except for that voltage regulator. Now, one note on the voltage regulator: when I bought this, there's a couple different kinds that are used in these vehicles, a couple different alternators, so you have to check the VIN number of your car and make sure that it's the right VIN number, so that you end up for the voltage meter, so that you end up with the right voltage regulator for your car, for the alternator that you have. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble it now. Okay, these bushings, when I'm getting ready to put the alternator back in, these bushings it was really hard to get it out because these bushings are tight. And that bushing can slide in there, and it's what happened when the bolts were tightened in on the alternator. It pulls that bushing up really tight, and that's why it was hard to get out. We had to pry on it. I don't want to pry to try to get it in there. It's going to be hard. I want to make it easy on myself. So I came up with this tool. Let's see, I made this tool. It's a 13/16 socket and a bolt through it, and I'm going to put it in there like that and put a washer and a nut on the end and then crank on it, and it'll pull that bushing that way a little bit, which will make it a lot easier to get the alternator back in. It'll just slide in, get it lined up. So I'm going to pull the bushings over a little bit on both the top and the bottom. Actually the bottom wasn't too tight, so I might be okay on that one, but the top one was really tight, so I'm going to pull it over a little bit and make it easy on myself. That worked really well, and I was able to slide the alternator right in. Now I just need to tighten up the bolts and plug in the connectors in the back. I'm going to put on this 13mm screw nut. Put these connectors all back on. So that'll be good. I just have to put the belt on as soon as I tighten all that stuff up. I used the 17mm wrench again to pull on that tensioner, which is right down there. So you pull up on it. So you want to put the ratchet in about, so it's sticking out about like that, and then you can get good leverage to pull up on it, and that gives you slack in the belt. And then I was able to put the belt back on. And next, I'm going to put the air box back in, hook it up, and reconnect the battery. Now before you clamp the air box down, remember to connect this air intake before you put it into place, because once you lock it into place, then you can't get that on. So do that, and also remember this hose down here clamps into the air box, so there's some clips on the air box that holds that hose, so don't forget to put that in place as well. And then you'll just line up the little feet on the bottom of the air box with these grommets and press it in. Of course that has to go in that hole as well. And now we're going to find out if that solved the problem. And the battery light is no longer on, and the engine's running smooth. The lights aren't pulsating. Everything is good. Charging just right. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Around 14 volts. So that problem is solved. It cost me $37 for the part and free shipping. If I would have taken it to the dealer, needing a new alternator, probably would have cost $600 or $800. So just to recap, here's all the tools that I used for the whole project. Voltmeter, that's how I diagnosed the problem in the first place, and then to check that it was solved. 17mm wrench to take the belt off for the tensioner. Of course, there's the new part that I got. I just needed that one part. A regular Phillips screwdriver, and then I had a 15mm socket and a 13mm, and then this E14 inverted Torx, and then I have a couple of bars that I use. Carefully loosen the alternator once I have the bolts out. Forgot to put this piece back on. I'm going to put that one on. Put that back in there. That's easy. I use this pry bar because the alternator bolts were pretty tight at first, so I use that to loosen them. Didn't really need that wrench. This was for the battery terminals, 10mm, to take the battery loose, and then this is the tool that I made to pull those bushings back, and that's all I needed. Problem solved.